Hello there. It's nice to meet you. So I spoke to you over the phone. I'm a traveling nurse that is specialized in sleep studies. Okay, we had an appointment this evening. So you told me on the phone that you have been having some issues with your sleep. Okay. All right. And I'm going to ask you a series of questions, okay? And it's very important that you try to answer them all as specific as you can, okay? With as much detail and information as you can give me. And now, some questions might catch you off guard, maybe, and that's okay. If it takes you a little longer to answer some, if you need a little extra time, then that's fine. You know, I'm in absolutely no rush today. My schedule this whole evening is completely booked up for you, okay? So let me just find the page I started for you. Okay. And I know you said on the phone that you haven't really been able to visit a hospital lately physically. Okay, so you've been having a lot of at-home doctors, nurses. Okay, not a lot, but you did mention one, didn't you? Okay, and I believe I already have their name on file, but if you could go ahead and just confirm their name for me, that would be great. Okay. And about how long ago did you see them? Okay. Alright. And what was the matter of the appointment? Okay. Alright. So you've been having these sleep problems for quite a while. Okay. I'm going to ask you just to verify a couple things before I start asking you your sleep questions, okay? So I already have these on file, but if you could confirm your date of birth for me. Okay. And your first and last name. Okay. All right. So that all looks good. Okay. So the very first thing I'm curious to know is, have you always had trouble sleeping? Not always. Okay. So tell me a little bit more about your sleep schedule. Okay. Do you work and go to school? do you do? Okay. And what shift is that? Alright, so that might have an impact on your sleeping schedule then. Okay. And let's see. How much do you work a week? Do you work consistent hours? Is it fluctuating? How many days off do you get? Okay. And you mentioned something about rotating schedules. Okay. So that can play a big part in your sleep habits. I just write this down in your notes, okay? Alright. So, you said it's not always been like this. Can you tell me the farthest back it started? Like when maybe, did it start from your childhood? Did it start from when you maybe started a new job or a new hobby, something like that? Okay. Okay, that makes perfect sense. And how's your dream life going? Do you experience dreams, nightmares, anything like that? Okay. And how often do you remember your dreams? Okay. Right. Okay. Alright, so my next question is, tell me a little bit about your routine before you go to sleep. Okay. Okay. Oh no, you're not talking too much. As detailed as you can be, it's gonna help you most in the long run. So anything you can think of, probably within the last, I would say, hour before you go to bed would be helpful. But even if you can tell me things that you do 2 to 3 hours before you usually go to sleep. Okay. Alright. That could have some effects on your sleep. Okay. Alright. I'm just going to ask you a couple more questions about your routine. So, do you eat before you go to bed? Sometimes, okay. Get a new page. Okay. So you said sometimes you do. Alright. And what kind of foods do you usually eat before you go to sleep? Okay. Okay. So that's actually sounding pretty healthy, I would say. You said sometimes you do eat sweets, though. And what kind of sweets would that be? specifically? I know you said like snack cakes, but what kind are you eating? Like chocolate snack cakes, or are you eating something a little bit different? Okay. Alright. And just kind of, I know this probably won't be super accurate, okay? But if you could say, like, throughout a whole week, how many days out of the week would you say you probably eat sweets before you go to bed? Out of 7? Okay. Okay. And do you experience any difference in your sleep when you wake up in the morning? Do you feel worse? Do you feel better? Yes, on the nights that you have eaten sweets. Okay. So that is one habit that we can actually try to change a little bit. I know it's easier said than done. But your sleep overall is one of the most important parts of your health. And, we don't have to fix all of this right away, but I'm here to help you with alternatives and give you different advice and things, okay? So, that could just be one of the factors, though, going into what is going on with your sleep, okay? Alright, so moving on to the next question. Kind of going back to talking about your dreams. Do you experience any intense or more vivid dreams on the nights that you eat sweets? And this is kind of just for our statistic survey, but this will also help me know kind of where you are a little bit better. Okay, so only if you eat like a lot of okay. I'm just gonna mark that in the box for the survey. Do you drink anything before you go to bed? Okay. So I'm gonna tell you, we can switch the soda pop drink that you might have before bed sometimes. And if you could quickly just tell me what specific kind, or do you just drink whatever? Okay, all kinds, okay. So, just, are you a milk drinker by chance? Lactose intolerant? Okay. Okay. Do you have any favorite juices by chance? Okay. And what about tea? Okay, what kind of teas do you drink? Okay. Alright, so that tea actually is high in caffeine, and that might interfere with you being able to get a full night's rest, okay? So I'm going to actually give you some different teas for you to try out, if that's okay, if you'd be up for trying those. Okay, so the teas I'm going to give you to try are caffeine-free. I think I already said that. We have various different flavors, just depending on what your preference might be. Have you tried different teas, or have you just stuck to Lipton? Okay. And what about honey? Do you like honey? I'm going to go ahead and give you some honey as well. I personally just like it in my tea. If you have this, I would say an hour or so before bed. Maybe a little longer depending on, what you're doing or what you prefer. Okay. If you go ahead and make a hot glass of tea and just put a little spoonful of honey in that. A little tiny spoon of sugar won't hurt you, but if you can take it without sugar, that would be the healthiest alternative, okay? So I'm just going to put that in your little, I'm going to get a new, go back to your previous file, just 1 second. And do you have any specific flavors that you would like to try? We have pomegranate, we have mango, we have dandelion, we have rose, we have blueberry, we have chamomile, we have just a lot of different ones. Do you have any preference? Okay. Actually, that would be a really good idea if you're new into trying different teas. I can give you a variety pack, and you can call me at a later time. And if you prefer one flavor over the other, I can bring in a supply of those for you. Okay, we'll just see if those help you out a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next portion of the sleep study, okay? And we're going to talk about your physical activities, okay? First of all, throughout the week, how many days would you say that you exercise? Okay, and what kind of exercise are you doing? One thing I will ask you, do you do any stretches before or and after you do these exercises? Okay. Alright, I would definitely recommend stretching, okay, before and after. Alright, even if it's just for 5 minutes or so, or just a few minutes, okay, to start out with. It'll definitely help you, your body. Right. And do you practice any yoga? Okay. That is something that benefits a lot of people, especially if you do it right before you go to sleep. Even an hour or two before you know that you're going to be heading to bed. If you take even 5, 10, 15 minutes out of your evening or morning or whenever it is that you'll be going to sleep, and you try to do some different yoga poses, different yoga routines. There's a lot of videos on YouTube that kind of guides you through. There's a lot of videos for beginners too. Okay, and it might not feel like it's for you at first, but once you start doing it, okay, you're gonna, I hope anyways, feel a tremendous difference in your body, your mind, your sleep. Okay, and they actually have yoga that you can do right in bed. So if you're already laying down and the thought crosses your mind of, oh, I forgot to do my yoga today, you can always just do a few different stretches or yoga poses in bed that kind of help loosen your muscles before falling asleep. Okay? Yeah, I can actually write down a couple different videos and channels that I recommend here in your notes. Just get your okay. Alright, so would you prefer a 5 to 15 minute? Would you prefer, something a little shorter, something a little longer? Okay. Alright, sounds good. I know some really good videos that you're gonna like. Okay. Alright, so we've talked about your exercise. We've talked about your eating habits before bed, but overall, not just specifically before bed, but out through the day, are you maintaining a healthy diet? Okay. Okay. Alright. See, and while we're on the topic of what you put into your body, I'm gonna go ahead and ask you just a couple of kind of more personal questions. And like I said, everything you tell me today is super important for your sleep study. Everything is confidential, okay? So just try to be as honest as you can. So do you do any smoking? Okay. Okay, so you used to. Okay. And about how long ago did you quit? Okay, good. I'm very proud of you. That's a huge accomplishment. And have you ever vaped? Okay. Right? And any other, or any drugs of any sort? Okay. And that was prescription, right? Okay. And is that current, or was that in the past? Okay. Alright, and any alcohol use? If so, how often a week do you think you consume? Okay. Alright. Sounds good. So I'm going to ask you, do you have any physical pain just right now sitting where you are? Do you feel any discomfort? Okay. Okay. And is that always like that? Okay. And from a 1 to a 10, 1 being the slightest, and 10 being the most intense of pain, on about a 1 to 10 scale, can you tell me how? Okay. Right. Have you seen a doctor about that? Okay. And what was their recommendation for you? Physical therapy? Okay. And did you follow through with that? Okay. Alright. Do you personally think that impacts or interferes with your sleep? Okay. Alright. I have a couple other questions. These might sound not too important, but they really are. And these are for our sleep study survey as well, but they are very important for your personal sleep study, okay? So, do you sleep with a pillow? Different pillows? If so, how many? And where at do you sleep with them? Okay. Alright. Okay. Do you, do you sleep with a fan on? Okay. Usually, what kind of temperature do you like to sleep in? Cool or warm? Okay. And have you ever been tested for any type of sleep apnea? Okay, so you don't use a mask when you sleep? Okay. We can get you set up we can do it right here at your home. But how long ago did you have that tested? Okay, so it's been a little bit. I would definitely recommend for us to do a retest on that. Yeah. Okay. And I'll go ahead and schedule you for that before we finish up today. Okay. And let's see. Couple more questions for you. Before you go to bed, do you like to be on your phone or your laptop or your computer in bed? Okay. Alright, do you ever try to read before bed? Like, not on your phone, but an actual book? Okay. Let's see. And have you ever practiced any form of meditation? Okay. All right. So that goes over all of the questions I had for you today. Now with the tea and honey that I'm going to give you, I have it already prepared in this little bag, and I'll just leave it here in the room. Okay. So let me go ahead and flip to a new page and get you scheduled in for your sleep test. Is that okay? Alright. So, right, let's see. How about let's do a week from tomorrow? Does that sound okay? Okay. And what time would work for you? I know you said your sleep schedule kind of fluctuates. Would you like to call me a day ahead of time and just tell me then? Okay, that would work, yeah. How about we make a phone appointment, though? That way I can be expecting your call. Okay, so a week from today, I want you to give me a call. Does any time in the morning work for you? Okay, 10 a.m., that sounds good. And if you don't give me a call by that time, I'll just call and give you a reminder to call me back. That way we can set up your appointment. And if anything changes now and then, you can call me and let me know, okay? Okay, and you do have my phone number. Okay, because, yes, we spoke over the phone a couple days ago. Alright. So I'm gonna go back to my lab and I'm going to put all of your information in our computer, in our system. Okay, I'm gonna make you an actual file. Okay, and I'm more than happy to stop in and do any more evaluations. Okay, we are going to figure out how to make your sleep better. Okay, and I'm going to come with an envelope, kind of like a little pamphlet, and it's going to have all kinds of different things, recommendations, things that you can do to kind of change your habits and things. That way you can get the best sleep as possible. Okay. So let me just, before I go today, I just want to go through, make sure I ask you every single question that I'm supposed to. There's just one little thing I did forget to ask you. So, how many hours of sleep do you get a night? That fluctuates too. Okay. Minimum, how many hours would you say? Okay. All right. It's actually a very important question. Alright, so do you have any questions for me? Okay. Well, sleep medications, we talked over the phone and you said that you used NyQuil. Okay, yep. That is what I remember. So, there are other natural vitamins that you could use, such as melatonin. I know a lot of people use that. After I get all of this information in the computer, I will come back with another set of questions and the pamphlet. And we're going to go over more in depth of your medical history and things like that. Today I was kind of just taking a overall look at your habits, your physical activity, how you sleep, things like that. Okay. Now, okay. Yeah. That's fine. Just continue doing what you're doing. I would, switch from drinking coffee or soda before bed to this decaffeinated tea that I'm going to give you. You can incorporate some yoga and stretches before bed. I think that might help you. Other than that, I say we do the sleep apnea test next week. We'll get those results back and see maybe that could have a lot to do with your sleep issues. Okay, so it could be so many different things. So just keep doing what has been working for you, and I'll get back to you on some different things you can try out. Okay. All right, I'll see you next week.